First contact and conflict. The vast emptiness of space shimmered as the UES Horizon, humanity's most advanced exploration vessel, emerged from its final jump. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the unfamiliar star system before her. After years of searching, they had finally discovered signs of intelligent alien life. Status report, Elena commanded, her voice steady despite the excitement coursing through her veins. Lieutenant Commander Akira Tanaka's fingers danced across his console. All systems nominal, Captain. We're picking up artificial structures on the third planet. Definitely not natural formations. Elena nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Broadcast our first contact package on all frequencies. Let's hope they're friendly. Hours passed as the crew of the Horizon waited with bated breath. The tension on the bridge was palpable, a mixture of anticipation and anxiety. Suddenly, Akira's console lit up like a Christmas tree. Captain. Multiple objects launching from the planet's surface. They're heading straight for us. Elena's smile faded. Are they responding to our message? Akira shook his head, his face pale. No, ma'am. These are weapons, highly advanced energy signatures, nothing like we've ever seen before. Evasive maneuvers. Elena shouted, but it was too late. The first volley of alien weapons fire struck the Horizon before its shields could fully engage. The ship shuddered violently, throwing crew members to the floor. Alarms blared as damage reports flooded in from all decks. Return fire, Elena ordered, gripping her command chair. And get us out of here. The Horizon's weapons, designed for self-defense, seemed pitiful against the onslaught of alien firepower. As the ship desperately tried to retreat, more alien vessels appeared, cutting off their escape route. Engineering reports critical damage to the jump drive. Akira reported, his voice shaking. We can't outrun them, Captain. Elena's mind raced. They were outgunned, outnumbered, and trapped. But she refused to go down without a fight. Divert all power to weapons and shields. If we're going down, we're taking some of them with us. For the next hour, the Horizon fought valiantly against overwhelming odds. The ship's advanced AI, Araya, coordinated their defenses with inhuman precision, allowing them to hold out far longer than anyone thought possible. But it wasn't enough. As system after system failed, Elena made the hardest decision of her career. Prepare to abandon ship, but first, set the reactor to overload. If these bastards want our technology, they'll have to fish it out of an expanding cloud of plasma. The surviving crew members scrambled to the escape pods, carrying with them all the data they had gathered on their mysterious attackers. As Elena watched the Horizon grow smaller through the pod's viewport, a massive explosion lit up space. The reactor overload had taken out 3 enemy ships along with the pride of Earth's fleet. The journey back to Earth was long and somber. Elena spent much of it reviewing the sensor data they had managed to salvage, trying to understand their attackers. The aliens, which they began calling the Zarketh based on intercepted communications, were clearly more advanced than humanity. But why had they attacked without provocation? When the battered survivors finally reached Earth, they were met with a mixture of horror and determination. The news of the unprovoked attack spread quickly, and humanity's response was swift and unified. In the halls of the United Earth government, leaders from every nation gathered to address this new threat. Admiral Wei Chen, the head of Earth's combined military forces, stood before them, his face grim. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice echoing through the chamber, "we face an enemy unlike any we have encountered before. The Zarketh are technologically superior and clearly hostile. But we have something they don't expect, the indomitable human spirit." Elena, still bearing the scars of her encounter, stepped forward to present her findings. The Zarketh may be advanced, but they're not invincible. We've analyzed their attack patterns and energy signatures. With focused research and development, we can close the technology gap. The next few months saw humanity united in a way it had never been before. Resources poured into military and scientific development. The brightest minds on Earth worked tirelessly to reverse engineer what little Zarketh technology they had observed. As factories retooled to produce new weapons and ships, a sense of grim determination settled over the planet. Humanity had been bloodied, but not beaten. They would not go quietly into the night. Elena found herself at the forefront of this new era, overseeing the development of Earth's new fleet. The ships were sleeker, faster, and armed with weapons based on Zarketh technology. But more importantly, they carried the hopes and determination of every human on Earth. As the first of these new vessels, fittingly named the UES Phoenix, prepared for its maiden voyage, Elena stood once again on a bridge, surrounded by a crew eager to take the fight to the enemy. Captain Rodriguez, Admiral Chen's voice came through the comm. You carry with you the future of our species. The Zarketh thought they could exterminate us with one brutal strike. It's time to show them how wrong they were. Elena's eyes hardened as she gazed at the stars beyond. The Zarketh had awakened a sleeping giant, and she intended to make them regret it. Understood, Admiral, she replied, her voice filled with steely resolve. We won't just defend humanity. We'll make the Zarketh fear the very sight of our ships. As the Phoenix and its sister ships launched into the darkness of space, humanity held its collective breath. The counterattack was about to begin, and the galaxy would soon learn why you should never underestimate the human race. The human response. The UES Phoenix cut through the inky blackness of space, leading a fleet of Earth's newest warships. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the helm, her posture rigid, eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. The past year had transformed her from an explorer into a warrior, and the weight of humanity's future rested heavily on her shoulders. Status report, she commanded, her voice carrying the authority earned through fire and loss. Lieutenant Commander Akira Tanaka, who had insisted on joining Elena's new crew, responded promptly. All ships reporting ready, Captain. The Zarketh outpost is just beyond the asteroid field. Elena nodded, a grim smile playing on her lips. Perfect. Let's show them what humanity is capable of. The fleet moved with practiced precision, weaving through the asteroid field with a grace that belied the size of the warships. As they emerged on the other side, the Zarketh outpost came into view, a sprawling structure of gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields. They've spotted us, Akira reported, tension evident in his voice. Enemy ships launching. Elena's eyes narrowed. Initiate Operation Trojan Horse. At her command, a dozen smaller ships detached from the fleet, racing ahead of the main force. These were humanity's secret weapons, vessels packed with experimental technology reverse-engineered from the Zarketh's own designs. As the enemy ships approached, expecting an easy victory, the human fleet unleashed its first surprise. The lead ships emitted a powerful electromagnetic pulse, temporarily disabling the nearest Zarketh vessels. Now, Elena shouted, all ships, engage. The space around the outpost erupted into chaos. Human ships darted between their larger Zarketh counterparts, unleashing barrages of newly developed plasma weapons. The aliens, caught off guard by the humans' unexpected technological leap, struggled to mount an effective defense. On the bridge of the Phoenix, Elena coordinated the attack with cold efficiency. Group 2, target their communication arrays. Group 3, take out those shield generators. As the battle raged, it became clear that humanity's new fleet was more than a match for the Zarketh outpost. Ships that once seemed invincible now crumbled under the onslaught of Earth's advanced weaponry. Captain, Akira called out, excitement breaking through his professional demeanor. We're breaking through their defenses. Elena allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before refocusing on the task at hand. Prepare boarding parties. I want that outpost intact. As human marines stormed the Zarketh structure, Elena couldn't help but reflect on how far they'd come. In just 1 year, humanity had gone from near helpless victims to a force capable of taking the fight to their aggressors. Hours later, as the dust settled and the outpost fell silent, Elena walked through its alien corridors, marveling at the advanced technology surrounding her. Scientists and engineers were already hard at work, decoding Zarketh databases and studying their equipment. Captain Rodriguez, a young researcher, approached her, tablet in hand. "You need to see this." The information on the tablet made Elena's blood run cold. The Zarketh weren't just random aggressors. They were planet killers, a species that survived by harvesting the resources of inhabited worlds, wiping out any civilization they encountered. "Get this to Earth immediately," Elena ordered, her mind racing with the implications, "and prepare the fleet for departure. We need to warn the other worlds in this sector." As the human fleet regrouped and set course for the next potential Zarketh target, news of their victory spread across Earth. Humanity celebrated its first major win against the alien threat, but Elena knew this was just the beginning. Back on Earth, Admiral Chen presented the findings from the Zarketh outpost to the United Earth government. The chamber was silent as the true nature of their enemy became clear. "We're not just fighting for our survival," Chen declared, his voice echoing through the hall. "We're fighting for every sentient species in this galaxy. The Zarketh must be stopped, not just for our sake, but for all life." The response was swift and resolute. Earth's industries, already working at full capacity, redoubled their efforts. New shipyards were constructed in orbit, churning out vessels at an unprecedented rate. The best minds on the planet worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of science and technology. Recruitment centers couldn't keep up with the flood of volunteers. People from all walks of life stepped forward, ready to do their part in humanity's greatest challenge. Training programs were accelerated, and soon a new generation of soldiers and pilots were ready to join the fight. As humanity's military might grew, so did its reach. The UES Phoenix and its sister ships ventured further into space, establishing outposts and early warning systems. They encountered the ruins of civilizations destroyed by the Zarketh, grim reminders of what was at stake. But they also found survivors, alien races who had managed to escape the Zarketh's purges. These encounters presented new challenges and opportunities. Humanity had to quickly develop protocols for interspecies communication and cooperation. Elena found herself at the forefront of these diplomatic efforts. Her experiences made her uniquely qualified to bridge the gap between humans and other species. She worked tirelessly to forge alliances, united by the common threat of the Zarketh. As Earth's influence spread, so did its reputation. Stories of human bravery and resourcefulness traveled across the stars. To some, they were saviors, a beacon of hope in a galaxy terrorized by the Zarketh. To others, they were a new power to be wary of, their rapid advancement a potential threat in itself. The Zarketh, for their part, did not take humanity's defiance lightly. Their attacks increased in frequency and ferocity. Battles erupted across multiple star systems as the planet killers sought to crush the upstart humans. But with each engagement, humanity learned and adapted. Their ships became faster, their weapons more powerful. The tide was slowly turning. 2 years after the destruction of the UES horizon, Elena stood on the bridge of the Phoenix once more. Before her, a massive holographic display showed the positions of human fleets spread across dozens of star systems. "Captain," Akira's voice broke through her contemplation, "we're receiving a priority message from Admiral Chen." Elena straightened, sensing the weight of the moment. "Put it through." Admiral Chen's hologram appeared, his expression a mixture of determination and concern. "Captain Rodriguez, we've intercepted Zarketh communications. They're massing for a major offensive, larger than anything we've seen before." Elena's jaw set in grim determination. "Where are they headed, Admiral?" "Earth," Chen replied, his voice heavy with the implications. "They're coming to end this once and for all." As the gravity of the situation sank in, Elena felt a familiar fire ignite within her. The Zarketh thought they could intimidate humanity into submission. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. "Understood," "Admiral," she responded, her voice filled with steel. "We'll be ready for them." As she ended the transmission, Elena turned to her crew. Their faces showed a mixture of fear and resolve, mirroring what she felt in her own heart. "Send out the call," she ordered. "All ships, all allies. It's time to show the galaxy why they call us the Deathbringers." As the Phoenix set course for Earth, leading a coalition fleet of humans and alien allies, the stage was set for the greatest battle in human history. The fate of not just Earth, but countless worlds, hung in the balance. The turning point. The space around Earth buzzed with activity. Thousands of ships, from massive dreadnoughts to agile fighters, formed a defensive perimeter around humanity's homeworld. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Phoenix, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the approaching Zarketh Armada. "They outnumber us 3-1, Lieutenant Commander Akira Tanaka reported, his voice tense but steady. Elena nodded, her face a mask of determination. "Numbers aren't everything, Akira. We have home field advantage and a few surprises up our sleeves." As if on cue, Admiral Chen's hologram appeared on the bridge. "Captain Rodriguez, Operation Sunburst is ready. The fate of Earth rests on its success." "Understood, Admiral," Elena replied. "We won't let you down." The plan was audacious, born from years of studying Zarketh technology and tactics. Humanity had turned its entire solar system into a trap, and the Zarketh were about to spring it. As the enemy fleet entered the solar system, they were met with a hail of fire from gun platforms hidden in the asteroid belt. But this was merely a distraction. The real surprise lay closer to Earth. "They're approaching Jupiter," Akira announced, activating Project Olympus. At Elena's command, massive energy collectors hidden in Jupiter's atmosphere came to life. They began to harness the gas giant's electromagnetic field, building up a charge that dwarfed anything seen before. The Zarketh, unaware of the trap, pressed on. Their ships, designed to harvest the energy of entire planets, were suddenly engulfed in a man-made electromagnetic storm. Hundreds of enemy vessels faltered, their systems overloaded by the massive energy surge. "Now," Elena shouted, "all ships, engage." The human fleet burst into action. Ships that had been hiding in Jupiter's shadow now emerged, catching the disoriented Zarketh in a devastating crossfire. Elena's voice rang out across the comms, coordinating the attack with precision honed by years of combat. But the Zarketh were not easily defeated. As their fleet regrouped, they unleashed weapons of terrifying power. Entire squadrons of human ships vanished in blinding flashes of energy. On the Phoenix's bridge, alarms blared as enemy fire rocked the ship. "Shields at 60%, Akira reported, his hands flying over the controls. "We can't take much more of this, Captain." Elena gritted her teeth. They had bloodied the Zarketh nose, but victory was far from assured. It was time for Phase 2. "Signal the Artemis," she ordered. "Tell them to deploy the Mjolnir." From the far side of the moon, a massive ship emerged. The Artemis, Earth's secret weapon, had been built for this very moment. As it approached the battle, panels on its hull slid open, revealing a weapon unlike any other. The Mjolnir, named after the mythical hammer of Thor, was humanity's ultimate deterrent. It fired projectiles at near-light speed, each impact releasing energy equivalent to a nuclear blast. As the Artemis opened fire, the battlefield was transformed. Zarketh ships, once thought invincible, were torn apart by the hypersonic projectiles. The tide of battle began to turn. But the Zarketh were not finished. Their flagship, a behemoth that dwarfed even the largest human vessels, pushed through the carnage. Its weapons carved through Earth's defenses, heading straight for the planet. "They're making a run for Earth," Akira shouted, panic edging into his voice. Elena's mind raced. The Mjolnir was devastating, but too slow to target the agile Zarketh flagship. They needed something faster, more precise. "Get me a direct line to the Artemis," she commanded. An idea, desperate, and dangerous, was forming in her mind. As the connection was established, Alina outlined her plan. It was risky, bordering on suicidal, but it was their only chance to stop the Zarketh from reaching Earth. Minutes later, the Phoenix broke from the main battle, racing on an intercept course with the Zarketh flagship. Behind them, the Artemis adjusted its aim. "All hands, brace for impact," Elena announced, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her gut. "Akira, on my mark, drop our shields and divert all power to engines." The Zarketh flagship loomed before them, its weapons charging for a final devastating attack on Earth. Elena watched the distance counter tick down, her hand hovering over the command console. "Now," she shouted. The Phoenix's shields dropped, leaving it vulnerable. But at that same moment, its engines flared with all the power the ship could muster. The sudden burst of speed caught the Zarketh off guard. In that split second of confusion, the Artemis fired. A single Mjolnir projectile streaked past the Phoenix, missing it by mere meters. It struck the Zarketh flagship dead center, the kinetic impact amplified by the ship's own forward momentum. The result was catastrophic. The Zarketh flagship, pride of their fleet, broke apart in a spectacular explosion. The Phoenix, caught in the blast wave, tumbled end over end, its hull breached in multiple places. As emergency systems kicked in and damage reports flooded the bridge, Alina allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. The Zarketh invasion had been stopped. In the hours that followed, the remaining Zarketh ships were mopped up by Earth's forces. The cost had been high. Thousands of ships destroyed, countless lives lost. But humanity had survived. As the Phoenix limped back to Earth, flanked by rescue ships, news of the victory spread across the planet and to the far-flung human colonies. Humanity had not just defended itself. It had dealt a crippling blow to a threat that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia. In the aftermath of the battle, as the wounds of war were tended and the dead honored, a new era dawned for humanity. They were no longer just survivors, but protectors. The name Deathbringers, once used in fear by the Zarketh, was now spoken with reverence by the races humanity had saved. Elena, standing in the observation deck of a space station overlooking Earth, felt the weight of this new responsibility. They had won this battle, but the war was far from over. The Zarketh would return, and there were likely other threats lurking in the vast darkness of space. But as she looked at her home planet, beautiful and alive, Alina felt a surge of determination. Humanity had proven itself capable of facing any challenge, of overcoming any obstacle. Whatever the galaxy threw at them next, they would be ready. As if sensing her thoughts, Akira joined her at the window. "What now, Captain?" he asked, his voice a mixture of exhaustion and excitement. Elena turned to him, a small smile on her face. "Now, old friend, we go back out there. We find allies, we fight threats, and we make damn sure that what happened here never happens to another world again." As they stood there, watching shuttles ferry survivors and supplies between Earth and the orbiting fleets, both felt a sense of pride and purpose. The battle for Earth was over, but humanity's journey as guardians of the galaxy was just beginning. Unexpected allies. The UEA's Phoenix glided through the star-studded expanse, its hull bearing the scars of countless battles. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on a holographic display of an uncharted solar system. In the years since the Battle of Earth, humanity had pushed deeper into space, seeking both allies and lingering Zarketh threats. Unusual energy readings from the fourth planet, Captain Lieutenant Commander Akira Tanaka reported, his voice tinged with curiosity. "It doesn't match any known signatures, Zarketh or otherwise." Elena's brow furrowed. "Set a course. Let's investigate, but approach with caution." As the Phoenix entered orbit around the mysterious planet, the crew was met with an awe-inspiring sight. The world below was a tapestry of bioluminescent patterns, pulsing with life and energy. "It's beautiful," Akira breathed, momentarily forgetting his professional demeanor. Before Elena could respond, the ship's communication system crackled to life. A melodious voice, unlike anything they had ever heard, filled the bridge. "Greetings, travelers. We are the Tylo. We have been expecting you." Elena exchanged a surprised glance with Akira. "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the UES Phoenix. We come in peace. May we request permission to send a delegation to your world?" There was a pause, filled with a soft, musical hum. "Then you may. We have much to discuss, Deathbringers." Hours later, Elena led a small team to the planet's surface. They were met by the Tylo, beings of pure energy, their forms shifting and swirling like living aurora borealis. The aliens guided them to a grand chamber, its walls alive with pulsing light. A Xylo elder, its form more defined than the others, addressed Elena. "We have watched your kind for some time, Captain. Your victory over the Zarketh was impressive." Elena nodded, still in awe of her surroundings. "Thank you. We've been searching for allies in our fight against the Zarketh. Any assistance would be greatly appreciated." The elder's form rippled, a gesture Elena interpreted as thoughtful. "The Zarketh are but one threat among many, Captain. We have foreseen a greater darkness approaching, one that threatens not just individual worlds, but the very fabric of space-time itself." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "What kind of threat?" "We call them the Void Dwellers," the elder explained, its voice grave. "Ancient beings from the spaces between realities. The Zarketh's actions have weakened the barriers between dimensions, and now the Void Dwellers seek to enter our universe." The implications were staggering. Humanity had only just begun to grasp its place in the galaxy, and now they faced a threat to reality itself. "How can we stop them?" Elena asked, her mind already racing with possibilities. The Tylo elder's form brightened. "Alone, neither of our species can prevail. But together, combining your determination and technological prowess with our energy manipulation and foresight, we may stand a chance." And so began an unprecedented alliance. Over the next months, human scientists worked alongside Tylo energy masters, developing technologies beyond anything Earth had ever seen. Void detection systems were installed on human ships, allowing them to track dimensional weak points. Weapons were enhanced with Tylo energy, capable of sealing rifts in spacetime. But not everyone on Earth was comfortable with this new alliance. Admiral Chen, in a secure communication with Elena, voiced his concerns. "Captain, while I appreciate the advancements the Tylo have provided, we know very little about them, or these Void Dwellers. How can we be sure this isn't an elaborate trap?" Elena understood his caution. After the Zarketh, humanity had learned the hard way not to take alien intentions at face value. "I share your concerns, Admiral. But I've seen the Tylo's predictions firsthand. The threat is real, and we need their help to face it." As if to underscore her point, alarms blared across the Phoenix. Akira's voice came through the comm, urgent and tense. "Captain, we're detecting a massive dimensional rift forming in the Arcturus system." Elena's blood ran cold. Arcturus was home to one of humanity's largest off-world colonies. "Set a course immediately. Alert the Tylo and request reinforcements." The Phoenix dropped out of FTL on the outskirts of the Arcturus system, and Elena felt her heart skip a beat. A colossal tear in space hung above the colony world, its edges crackling with eldritch energy. Through the rift, shadowy tendrils were beginning to emerge. "Void Dwellers," Elena whispered, her voice a mix of awe and terror. The battle that followed would be etched in the annals of human history. The Phoenix, augmented with Tylo technology, led a desperate defense against creatures that defied the laws of physics. Void Dwellers phased in and out of reality, their very touch causing ships to age centuries in seconds. But humanity was not alone. Tylo vessels, beings of pure energy piloting ships of thought and light, arrived to join the fray. Together, human and Tylo fought with everything they had, using their combined technologies to push back the extra-dimensional invaders. Alina stood on the bridge of the Phoenix, coordinating the defense with a mix of tactical brilliance and sheer determination. "Concentrate fire on the rift edges," she commanded. "Use the silo energy weapons to seal it." For hours, the battle raged. Human colony ships evacuated civilians while warships held the line. Silo energy beams lanced through space, slowly knitting the fabric of reality back together. Just when it seemed the defenders might prevail, a massive void dweller, larger than any they had yet seen, emerged from the rift. Its mere presence caused instruments to fail and minds to reel. "It's a void lord," the Silo Elder's voice echoed in Alina's mind. "If it fully manifests, all is lost." Alina gritted her teeth, her mind racing. They needed something big, something the void dwellers wouldn't expect. Then, an idea struck her, audacious, potentially suicidal, but possibly their only hope. "Akure," she called out, "set a collision course for the rift. Divert all power to the Silo energy core." Her second-in-command paled but nodded, understanding the plan without needing it explained. The Phoenix surged forward, streaking towards the gaping maw of the rift. The Void Lord reached out, its tendrils seeking to ensnare the ship, but at the last moment, Alina gave the order. "Now, overload the core." The ship's Silo energy core detonated in a blinding flash of multidimensional energy. The explosion caught the Void Lord mid-manifestation, its form twisted and torn by the conflicting forces. The rift collapsed in on itself, taking the Void Dwellers with it. As emergency systems kicked in and the Phoenix tumbled through space, Alina allowed herself a moment of relief. They had won, but at a great cost. The Arcturus colony was safe, but the threat of the Void Dwellers was now horrifyingly real. In the aftermath of the battle, as rescue ships picked up survivors and repair crews got to work, Alina found herself in a solemn meeting with both human and Silo leaders. Admiral Chen, his hologram flickering slightly, addressed the group. "This attack changes everything. We're no longer just fighting for our place in the galaxy, but for the very existence of our reality." The Silo Elder, its form dimmed with exhaustion, agreed. "The barriers between dimensions grow weaker. We must prepare for more incursions." Alina looked around at the assembled leaders, human and alien alike. Despite their differences, they were united in purpose. "Then we'll face this threat together," she declared. "Human, Silo, and any other race willing to stand against the darkness. We'll show these Void Dwellers why they should fear the combined might of our universe." As the meeting adjourned and plans were made for a united defense force, Alina couldn't help but reflect on how far humanity had come. From near extinction at the hands of the Zarketh to standing shoulder to shoulder with advanced alien races against cosmic horrors. The challenges ahead were daunting, the enemies terrifying. But as Alina looked out at the stars, she felt a surge of determination. Humanity had earned its title of Deathbringers, and now they would use that strength to protect not just themselves, but all of reality. The war for existence had begun, and humanity was ready to lead the charge. The final confrontation. The combined fleet of human and Silo ships hung in the void of space, a testament to the unlikely alliance forged in the face of cosmic horror. At its center, the UES Phoenix, now emblazoned with shimmering Silo energy patterns, stood as a symbol of hope and defiance. Captain Alina Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the swirling maelstrom before them, the largest dimensional rift yet encountered. Intelligence gathered by Silo seers and human deep space probes all pointed to this location as the Void Dwellers' main point of ingress into our reality. "Status report," Alina commanded, her voice steady despite the tension crackling through the air. Lieutenant Commander Akira Tanaka, his console now an intricate blend of human and Silo technology, responded promptly. "All ships report ready, Captain. Silo energy cores are at maximum capacity. The rift appears stable, but readings suggest imminent Void Dweller activity." Alina nodded, her jaw set with determination. This is it, then. Everything we fought for comes down to this moment. Admiral Chen's hologram flickered to life on the bridge. Captain Rodriguez, you have command of the combined fleet. The fate of not just Earth, but all reality rests on this battle. Good luck, and Godspeed. As the hologram faded, Elena took a deep breath. She opened a channel to the entire fleet, her voice carrying to every human and silo aboard. This is Captain Rodriguez. We stand here today, not just as separate species, but as guardians of existence itself. The Void Dwellers thought they could intimidate us, break us, but they underestimated the power of unity, the strength we find in each other. Today, we show them the true meaning of defiance. All ships, battle formations. Prepare to engage on my mark. No sooner had the words left her mouth than the rift before them pulsed ominously. Tendrils of darkness, larger than anything they'd encountered before, began to emerge. Void Lords, Akira shouted, his voice tinged with awe and fear. Elena's eyes narrowed. All ships, open fire. Concentrate on the rift edges. Don't let them gain a foothold. The space around the rift erupted in a dazzling display of energy as hundreds of ships unleashed their weaponry. Beams of Xylo energy intertwined with advanced human plasma weapons, striking at the very fabric of space-time. But the Void Dwellers were prepared. As the first volley hit, a swarm of smaller entities burst through the rift, surrounding the Allied fleet. Ships began to disappear, their crews aged to dust in an instant by the Void Dwellers' reality-warping touch. Evasive maneuvers, Elena ordered. Silo ships, form a protective barrier. Use your energy manipulation to counter their temporal attacks. The battle raged on, a cosmic dance of light and shadow. The Phoenix darted through the chaos, its weapons blazing, as Elena coordinated the defense with a mixture of tactical brilliance and sheer determination. Hours passed, and despite their best efforts, the Allies found themselves being slowly pushed back. The Void Lords were fully manifesting now, their mere presence causing space itself to warp and twist. Captain, Akira called out, his voice strained. Our weapons are having minimal effect on the Void Lords. We can't keep this up much longer. Elena's mind raced. They needed something more, something the Void Dwellers wouldn't expect. Then, an idea struck her. Audacious, potentially suicidal, but possibly their only hope. The rift, she murmured, then louder. Akira, contact the Silo flagship. I need to speak with Elder Tylos immediately. As the ethereal form of the Silo leader appeared on screen, Elena quickly outlined her plan. The Elder's form pulsed with surprise and then understanding. It is risky, Captain, Xylos said, but it may be our only chance. We will begin preparations immediately. Elena turned to her crew, her eyes blazing with determination. All hands, prepare for emergency maneuvers. We're going to end this, one way or another. The plan was desperate but brilliant in its audacity. Using the combined power of the entire fleet's Xylo energy cores, they would create a massive energy surge, not to close the rift, but to invert it. As the Void Lords pressed their attack, the Allied fleet began to fall back in a coordinated retreat. The Void Dwellers, sensing victory, surged forward. Now, Elena shouted. In that instant, every ship in the fleet channeled its energy into a single, coherent beam. The Phoenix, at the center of the formation, acted as the focus point. A blinding flash of light erupted from the Allied ships, striking the heart of the dimensional rift. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a sound that defied description, the rift began to collapse in on itself. But instead of closing, it inverted, creating a massive vortex that began to pull everything nearby towards it. The Void Dwellers, caught off guard, were the first to be drawn in. Their cries of confusion and rage echoed across space as they were sucked back into the void from which they came. All ships, maximum thrust, Elena commanded. We need to clear the event horizon. The Allied fleet strained against the pull of the inverted rift, their engines pushed to the breaking point. Ship after ship managed to break free, but the Phoenix, having borne the brunt of the energy focus, struggled to escape. "We're not going to make it," Akira said, his voice calm despite the dire situation. Elena looked around at her crew, seeing the same resolve in their eyes that she felt. "It's been an honor serving with all of you," she said. Just as it seemed the Phoenix would be pulled into the rift, a beam of pure Xylo energy enveloped the ship. Elder Xylos's voice rang through the comms. "Your sacrifice has saved us all, Captain Rodriguez. Allow us to return the favor." With a final surge of power, the Phoenix broke free of the rift's pull. Behind them, the inverted dimensional tear collapsed in on itself, sealing shut with a final reality-shaking boom. In the aftermath of the battle, as the Allied fleet regrouped and took stock of their losses, a sense of disbelief settled over the survivors. They had done it. The Void Dwellers were gone, pushed back into their own dimension. Elena stood on the observation deck of the Phoenix, watching as repair crews worked to mend the damaged ships. Earth's holographic projection appeared beside her. "Captain Rodriguez," Admiral Chen said, his voice filled with emotion. "On behalf of Earth and all allied worlds, I thank you. Your actions have saved not just our reality, but countless others." Helena nodded, feeling the weight of their victory. "Thank you, Admiral. But this was a victory for all of us, human, Xylo, and every race that stood against the darkness." As the Admiral's hologram faded, Elena turned her gaze back to the stars. The threat of the Void Dwellers was gone, but she knew this was not the end. The universe was vast, filled with wonders and terrors yet undiscovered. Humanity had proven itself. From the brink of extinction at the hands of the Zarketh, they had risen to become guardians of reality itself. The title of Deathbringers, once feared, was now spoken with reverence across the galaxy. As the Phoenix set course for Earth, Elena felt a sense of anticipation. This victory marked not an end, but a beginning. Humanity, together with their new allies, would continue to explore, to protect, and to face whatever challenges the universe had in store. The stars stretched into streaks of light as the ship entered FTL. Elena smiled, ready for whatever the future might bring. The Deathbringers were no longer just warriors. They were peacekeepers, explorers, and protectors of all existence. And as long as there were stars in the sky and worlds to discover, their journey was far from over.